I want you to imagine a man named Michael. This man, Michael, is a man just like you. He's on self improvement, he goes to the gym consistently, he's working towards his purpose, his business. He's he does martial arts, he goes to sleep early consistently every single night, meditates, journals. He does all the routine habits that me and you, people like me and you, would do. Yet, in things like his business or his martial arts or areas where there's other people competing for the same goal, he keeps falling behind. He keeps falling behind despite putting in as much effort as he can, putting his strongest foot forward, and he doesn't understand why. The reason this is happening is because he does not understand competition. Michael does not understand what it takes to gain a competitive advantage. In this video, we're going to talk about exactly that, what competition is and how to get ahead of everyone else. The first thing you need to understand about competition is that competition is everywhere. No matter where you go, no matter where you look, everything is always competing against each other. In the animal kingdom, the animals of a species are in competition, are constantly competing for reproductive rights to continue their own bloodline. In the universe, planets, stars, they're all competing for their own existence. One thing is destroyed by the other. The black hole sucks in everything around it. Those two forces are in competition with each other, regardless of whether they are organic or inorganic. So, that is the first thing that you must understand. It does not matter where you are in the universe, you are forced into this game of competition. And although that may sound brutal, although that may sound sad, and even make you a little bit angry, this is the way things are. You are forced into competition no matter where you are in life. So you can either compete along with everyone else, or you can neglect yourself and choose to sit back, which will not result in your desired state of being. Rather, it would result in your deterioration. You see, because competition is everywhere, because everything is competing, and because you are forced into this game of competition, you can either improve your condition, you can either compete and succeed, you can compete and lose, or you cannot compete at all and get decimated by the people who are participating. Do you understand how that graph works? You win, you lose, or you really lose. So, you must compete. That is the first thing. Secondly, if you've watched people like Hamza, you've definitely heard this analogy before of the race. So imagine that you are on this track field and you're racing alongside all these people for the desired result, purpose. That's the end goal, achieving your purpose, getting all the materialized success, if you will, if that's even anything meaningful. But for in this case, we'll include everything: purpose, material success, whatever. Your ideal state is the end goal. Your success in your field is the end goal. Now, in this race, you can either speed up, jog at a brisk pace, or you can slow down. Jogging consists more of just doing what you're doing. Speeding up involves doing something that pushes you forward. Slowing down means reverting back to what you once were. Slowing down means actively forsaking the end results for a little bit of temporary now pleasure. When you slow down, the person who is right behind you gets ahead. The person who is, because remember this, and there was a video of David Goggins talking about how many pull ups he was doing and how somebody beat him. And he said this, that there's always someone watching you, there's always someone waiting for you to slow down so that they can pick it up and then get ahead of you. And that is very true. Doesn't matter, it can be martial arts, it can be gym, it can be business, school. There is always someone who in the same way that you have your eyes on someone else and you want to get ahead of them, there is someone behind you who you can't see who is looking at you in the exact same way and they want to get ahead of you. So while you're waiting for this guy in front of you to slow down, the guy behind you is waiting for you to do the same. And if you ever take your eyes off this and further off the person in front of you, and furthermore, if you take your eyes off the end goal, you are going to slow down. And then what's going to happen? When you slow down, the guy who is looking at you is going to catch up. And even if he doesn't get ahead, at the very minimum, he'll be right next to you, looking at you side by side. So that is the first two fundamental things that you need to understand. That number one, you are forced to compete, regardless of whether you like it or not. Competition is the natural way of being. And secondly, that when you actively slow down, the person who is behind you gets in front of you. And so now someone else is on their way to achieving the results you want. So now that we know that we must compete, we know why we must compete to achieve our ultimate goals. We need to ask ourselves how we compete. We need to understand how we go about actually getting ahead. Here's where we talk about selecting your competitive advantage, selecting the thing that's really going to propel you forward. In my experience, the most effective means of selecting the most effective competitive advantage is your overtime task. Of course, there are things outside of this, such as your focus, your discipline, whatever, but most of us are already en route to improving those every single day. What most people are not doing is including their overtime task into their daily habits. Your overtime task is exactly what it sounds like. It's the thing you do when everyone's already clocked out of the office. It's what you do when when you've already finished your regular day of training, of working, of whatever it is. Take the example again of a race, but this time, instead of the actual race itself, imagine that you're training for a race. You're training, you're training, you're training. You guys run 20 laps, 30 laps. And then at the final lap, your coach says, okay, everyone's looking tired. Let's go back in. Let's go, let's review. Let's talk about this. We'll pick it up tomorrow. We'll do another training session tomorrow. All your peers are walking back inside. But you are still running laps. You decide that, okay, everyone's going back inside. I'm going to run another 2-3 laps before I go in. Even one. I'm just going to run one more lap before I go in. This is your overtime task. This is the task that puts you ahead of other people. It's what gives you that competitive edge. Think of martial arts. If you're in a martial arts class training for 1 hour, you train for the hour, whatever. The guy who finishes that 1 hour and does another class, or the guy who finishes that hour and then goes to the treadmill to sprint, or the guy who finishes a class and then goes to the bag to do bag work. Those guys are going to have a competitive advantage over you. So when you spar them next time, they're going to kick your ass. They're going to decimate you. And I say that from experience. The people who perform the best in martial arts, and specifically martial arts I'm referring to here, the people who perform the best in martial arts are the ones who put in more time than everyone else. They're the ones who go out of their way to spend an extra hour training when they don't have to, when the regular coached class is already over. How could anyone who isn't doing that possibly beat them? How could the next time a regular participant spars him possibly win if the guy they're sparring has been doing an hour of quality shadow boxing, an hour, an extra 20, 30 minutes of cardio after they've already left? The person, the inexperienced not the inexperienced, but the regular person, I mean. After the regular person leaves, this guy's still there. And because of that, there's very little people within that same circle who could dream of beating him. And because of that, his competition is going to have an even harder time. Because 9 times out of 10, people don't put in overtime tasks because putting in work is hard. Most people, they want to get stuff done. They want to hear that timer ring and they want to finish it. They just want to be done. It's those people who can work past that feeling, who can sit there and say, okay, yeah, this feels miserable, but I'm going to do it anyway. And they spend an extra like 20, 30 minutes putting in hours that they don't even need to put in, that they could have just not put in because they had already done the regular session for the day. It's those people who get ahead of everyone else. So that is your competitive advantage. Your competitive advantage is your overtime task. Here we arrive at the first actionable step of this video. For this step, I want you to consider what you can do to get ahead. Or, in essence, what overtime task you can do. So, if it's martial arts, consider adding back work, consider adding shadow boxing, consider adding more cardio. Something that everyone, or that no one else, or at least the majority of the people there, aren't doing. If it's your business, what is something that the majority of the people who are in that field are not doing? What is that overtime task that'll help you go one step beyond what everyone else is doing? Once you figure out the answer to that question, write it down, rip that page out, and put it somewhere that you know you're going to look, or write it down somewhere on your computer that you know that you're going to see every day and read it. Because I'm telling you, when it comes to competitive advantage, your overtime task is no doubt the single biggest advantage you can cultivate for yourself. Do you think that anyone else in your business is going to be able to compete with you if you're spending an extra hour or two still working whilst most people would have already finished? Do you think that anyone else in your martial art is going to beat you when you spend an extra hour doing whatever it is, doing more cardio exercises, taking another class? Do you think that they're going to be able to compete with you? The answer is no, they won't be able to compete with you because you've been there when everyone else was gone. And that means that you're putting in more hours towards your goals. So that is your actionable step. Think about what you can do right now. Think about what overtime task you can add to your life right now that'll help you start getting ahead and start gaining a competitive advantage over other people. The next thing you must accept is sacrifice. Sacrifice is a part of everything. Sacrifice is necessary in order to earn what you seek. And as a matter of fact, sacrifice makes you deserving of your rewards. I made a video on this a while ago. You must have nothing before attaining everything. And where I basically speak about how When you have everything given to you, this already, although it may seem like the opposite, it sets your life in a pretty negative trajectory. Ultimately, having everything without having earned it, without having sacrificed or lost something first, it's not healthy for us because it's not the natural way that we do things. The natural way of operating is that we achieve a goal, and on when we are en route to achieving this goal, we lose something on the way. Nothing is earned without sacrifice. And so you must be ready, not ready for the sacrifice itself, but ready to sacrifice things. You must be ready to let go of what you value and cherish because inevitably these things at some point in time, be it now, in 5 years, or after you're dead, they will dissipate. They will go away. So, and even if they don't dissipate before you, you'll dissipate first. And so you won't be able to enjoy them anymore. So always keep that in mind that you can't be clingy with your progress. You can't be clingy with your stuff, with people. You can't be clingy with anything because you need to be ready to sacrifice those things in order to achieve your personal mission, in order to achieve what's truly meaningful to you down here. It also is necessary to recognize this because if you're not prepared, sacrifice can dissuade you. Having to leave this thing that you really like, be it an indulgence, you know, like sugar or video games or whatever it may be, entertainment, or a physical person who you cherished a lot, who you have to let go because they're just not helping you with your goals, they're actually pulling you down. If you're not ready to make those sacrifices, you might be dissuaded and you might even consider giving up your journey. Secondly, sacrifice makes you deserving of everything that you earn. Without sacrifice, without pain, we cannot tell ourselves off like truly and truly believe it that we deserve it. Do you think that you can make you can inherit a ton of money and then say that you deserve it without some heavy delusion? Of course not, because we know deep down that we did nothing to earn this. This isn't our money. This is something that somebody else cultivated and just gave to me as a gift. Sacrifice is what makes us, it's what makes us proud to have achieved something. It's what makes us say, okay, yes, I've earned this. And I know I've earned this because when I was on the path here, I lost this, and this. I willingly gave this up to achieve this that I have now. And so I know that I deserve this because I put in a lot of effort, I put in a lot of work, and I gave a lot. I gave a lot of things that I didn't want to give. I gave a lot of things that I would have wanted to keep or that I would have preferred to be able to keep. Be ready for sacrifice and accept sacrifice willingly because sacrifice not only is it necessary for life, for progress, but it's necessary to live a fulfilling life. For your next actionable step, I want you to consider what you will need to sacrifice or what you may need to sacrifice in the future and whether or not you can do it. A lot of people will hear this and go, oh, yeah, I can, sacrificing, that's easy. I just need to give it up. Like, yeah, I don't even need that. People with humility will think about this and go, shit, maybe I'm not ready to sacrifice. Maybe when the time comes, I'll be too indecisive. Maybe I do actually start considering going back on my mission, going back on my word. Because I'm telling you from experience, it definitely is possible. It definitely is possible to be persuaded by these distractions and other things to give up your mission. And Before you know it, you're going back on your own word and being a hypocrite. So ask yourself what you need to sacrifice. Ask yourself what you need to sacrifice and whether or not you'll be prepared to do so. And genuinely consider it, genuinely think about it. And finally, once you have come to an answer with those two questions, ask yourself, how can I prevent myself from being unable to give this up? How can I prevent myself from allowing the things that I like to pull me down and drive me away from my purpose? I don't want this to become an unhealthy sort of way of living where you wake up and the only thing you think about is your business, your business. I'm not referring to just business. Business, I see it as more of a way to achieve your purpose. I don't see business as the purpose itself. Very little times is it actually the purpose. I'm not so much focused on, oh, sacrifice this for your business. I am more focused on sacrifice this for your purpose. Because ultimately, whatever you need to sacrifice is less valuable than your purpose. And your purpose encapsulates multiple things in there. I believe that purpose for like a universal thing that is purposeful for individuals, a universal thing that we all want to have. Family, love, romantic love, brotherhood, mainly social aspects. And then like that one goal that we want to achieve, which is essentially our way of giving back to the world. It's our way of giving back what little Earth has given us. So ask yourself how you can gain control over this fear of sacrifice, how you can make sure that you are prepared for the moment that you need to give something up. And if you even want to go a step further with that, ask yourself why. Ask yourself why you may not be able to. Is there some fear attached to it? Is there some trauma maybe? Just try to go really in depth with this question and understand how your brain operates, because very little of us actually understand on like a deep, meaningful level how our brains work. So when these moments arise, we don't know what to do. We're kind of confused because we have this persona this mask that we show everyone else, but at the same time we have like the unexplored inner us. So when these big moments arise, we don't know we're stuck between a rock and a hard place. We don't know which one to pick. And so then that's when we make mistakes, we do things that we end up regretting in the future, saying, oh man, why did I do that? I was such an idiot. So I'm telling you, think about this question because it may potentially save you decades of your life. With that, I'm able to conclude this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I know that these videos are shorter, they're less in detail, they're less essay-y in a way, but that's intentional. I don't want these videos to turn into like giant 1 hour long videos. I just want them to be shorter, concise, clear, but still helpful videos. And at the end of the month, you guys already know, you get that like 50-minute video, 40-minute video. It's like, oh, okay, here's what you can do to make $1 billion. I don't know. But you get my point. Anyway, I'm sticking with that schedule. Every week, upload like this. And then at the end of the month, you get the one really big upload. That's that. Go follow my Medium page. I post articles. I try to do every week, but every 1 to 2 weeks is usually when I post on the weekends. And yeah, that's it. So if you enjoyed, like, subscribe. Let me know in the comments what you thought. Please give me your criticisms. Let me know what did work, what didn't work for you, what advice you'd give to other people who are watching this video. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.